don't think that because you have little kids that you can't take them on these long trips far away and that they're not going to enjoy it.
Welcome to Mama's Playground. This is Darlene.
And this is Monica.
And so this is the first time that we see each other and that we're recording in a couple of weeks. We have been putting our show there every Wednesday for you guys as always, but we had pre-recorded those before we went on our trips. And here we are again. As you can hear, I'm a little bit sick.
Yeah. Are we 6 feet away from each other?
Yes, we are. And we are going to clean this mic for the next person that comes to record. But yeah, since I got back, it's 2 days, actually a week since I got back. And it's been crazy. Fabian got a little bit sick on the trip. Luna was a little bit sick. And it happened to me as soon as we landed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you sound so much better than the day I spoke to you.
Yeah. I was like, I can talk.
Which would have definitely hindered us from doing this podcast, but you're better.
Exactly.
You're better
Yeah,
today.
Yeah. No, last night I'm like, oh, am I going to be able to do it? But yes, I'm here. I love doing this podcast. I love putting stuff out there for you guys and working with you, Monica. I missed you.
I missed you too. I was watching all your stuff on Instagram. This woman here took 3 weeks and went to Europe, which was beautiful. I was so envious. I mean, even though at least I took a little trip.
Yes, I want to hear all about it.
I was in Colombia for 6 days, which was something, right? You can't take things for granted. It was nice. It was definitely nice. But yours, I was like, wow, I want to be in London. I want to be in France. That was amazing. And you celebrated your birthday there.
Yes, I did. And it's just like, I'm just overwhelmed. Even hearing you say it, I still can't believe that I went through all these experiences and with Fabian and with Luna, because we brought Luna with us, and just experiencing everything for the first time, seeing her. I cried when I saw the Eiffel Tower. And let me tell you, at first, I remember a couple years ago, Fabian mentioned, oh, what about France? And I'm like, I wasn't like 100% interested. But oh my God, I want to go back, and I'm in love with Paris. But that day when I saw the Eiffel Tower, like we're walking and he's like, get ready, because you can see it from many places. It's huge. And we turned around a corner and I don't know, I just started like crying. And I'm like, why am I crying? Like
It's emotional. You're there with your daughter.
It was, yeah.
It's a different experience. It's not like, not that it wouldn't be special. It was just you and Fabian, but I have to think like it's a nice experience. Your husband went out of his way for your birthday to take you and Luna.
Fabi. I love you.
to go see all these things. Yes. And I think it's such an experience versus just spending money on like a party at your house, which is still fun and nice, but you got to do a family trip together, just the three of you. So,
and just seeing this historic place in front of me, it was just, I would never forget. But first, okay, there's so much to talk about. But first, let's talk about Colombia. I know that you were a little bit skeptical about leaving the kids because you were going for, what, 6 days?
Nights? Yeah, almost a week without the kids. Everything was actually fine. Let me just be honest with you. Like, at first I was like, oh, we're going to leave the kids. Like, we're far. What if something happens? It's just that mom worry or parent worry in general. But we had such a nice time. I think it was like the first time we got there, the first thing we did, believe it or not, was we both went to the gym. I know, but let me tell you, hold on.
Really?
We went to the gym. We got to the hotel and we're like, you know what? Let's get changed. Like we ate breakfast, this and that. Like, let's get changed. Let's go to the gym. And it was so nice to get on that bicycle. I had like a nice view of like the trees and all that through the window that I was looking at. And I was on the cycle thing with my headphones, listening to music. And I was like, wow, when I haven't really had the opportunity to do something for myself without having to worry that I either have to go pick them up or, so it was nice.
You didn't have a like, mommy.
Correct. Or
snacks.
stop and go. It was like, I took an hour for myself. Benjamin got his workout in and we were together, which hasn't happened in a long time. It's either he goes, does his thing and then he takes care of the kids while I go do my thing. It was like we were together without the worry of, what their needs were at that moment. We took care of our needs. Let's
Or
say.
their schedule, like karate, or I gotta do this, I gotta do that for work.
Yeah, yeah. And I was really surprised. Actually, I did very well. I wasn't like, I also too, I'm lucky. I have my parents. So, I'm fortunate in that sense that I knew that they were in good hands.
And your sister too.
And
was
my
helping.
sister, you know what? If she ever listens to this, I don't know if she does, but if she does, yeah, hats off to her, because she took 2 days off and she went to actually sleep at my parents' house to help my mom. So,
that's great.
I very much appreciate that. Yeah. And they love being with her. So
And so how many times did you call to check up on the boys?
every day.
How many times a
Like
day?
5 times a day. And my mom was like, they're fine. They're fine. The one that wasn't fine, I think, was probably my mom. Poor thing, but obviously she did what she had to do. She took care of them. They were in good hands. So it was nice. It was nice. And then they would call me on FaceTime like, Mommy, where are you? I want to see the hotel, because they love hotels.
Of course.
So I was like, the next trip we're going to come and we're going to take you guys and we're going to go out together. So it was nice. It was very nice.
And it was destination wedding, right? So you had events throughout the weekend.
Correct. So it was destination wedding. We got there on a Thursday night. Friday, we had a welcome dinner at nighttime, which was very pretty, beautiful. We ate delicious. We compartimos with other adults. We had a glass of wine.
Oh my God, just the two of you.
Just
That's
the two of us.
So great.
And then Saturday, we had a party at like una finca in a farm, like in a beautiful setting where you could see the mountains. And it looked like think of Encanto, the movie from Disney where you see the beautiful
Colombia.
Yes.
So this is in Medellin.
In Medellin. Yeah.
I want to go there.
In Rio Negro. And it was nice. It was nice. We partied. We had fun. We danced. We drank, And then Sunday, was the wedding. And which was beautiful as well.
Aww.
And then Monday, we took that day. We didn't go home. A lot of people went home on Monday, but we didn't. We said, we're going to take this day to go sightseeing.
That's perfect. You're already there.
Yeah, I was like, we're not going to waste this trip and just come for the wedding. We're here already. Let's go see, at least something. So we went to El Peñol. That's like a big natural, I don't know if you're Colombian and I'm massacring this, I'm sorry. But it's like a big, huge, like natural rock that they built like these steps on, that it's like about 800 steps, I want to say, and you walk them all the way to the top, and you can see the whole entire like sightseeing, beautiful scenery, and it was nice. It was just me and Benjamin like going up, and a friend of ours, Vanessa. So
that's fun.
It was nice. Yeah.
And then you got back and the kids were like all over you guys.
Yeah, you know what? I'll be honest with you. I had such a nice time, like in the sense we got 6 days to ourselves, and which we hadn't had that in a long time. We've never taken a vacation by ourselves, and away from the kids that long.
In 5 years.
In almost 6, because Jacob
will be 6 in
Jacob is going to be
December,
6, so it's a long time. So it was nice to get away, and actually I think I got used to it, that I'm like, you know what, we should do another trip by ourselves again, at least once a year.
Yeah. And you were so scared. You're like, we're going without the boys. And we as parents, we do that. We forget many times to take care of ourselves, of our relationship with our other half, because we're so focused on what the kids need, and we can. And I do this, like when we try to go like for one night for our anniversary out here, it's like I'll be in the pool the next day. I'm like, I miss Luna. Let's go pick her up because I see kids in the school. It's like, no, it's our anniversary. It's our time. Yeah. And it's so important. Like, so how do you feel that your relationship has changed since that trip, when you got back, that it was like, okay, back to reality. We got to go to work. We have to clean the house, the kids.
I don't think, change. No, I just think we got that opportunity to be able to do things and be free to go as needed, which, when you're with kids, you can't, you have to, you have to plan things accordingly around their schedule, what they need. And this was just like, okay, let's pick up and go. We're going to go to do this. Let's get the cab to go here. We didn't have to second guess.
You didn't have to carry snacks and the water and the diapers.
Exactly. We got some adult time, which is very nice.
Very nice.
And I do see it now. Like, why was I so scared? You know, it's like, it's not that I was leaving them with strangers. You know, the other option besides leaving them with my parents at the time that we were planning this was to leave them with a lady that we know that used to take care of them here. And now she's in Colombia. But I was like, I'm not going to feel comfortable. I think that's going to be more stress because all the parties were for just adults. And if I had to leave my kids all day, in a setting that they don't know
With
where they are.
No, yeah.
You know, they know her, but it's not that. It's like, you know, I would be worried as to like, okay, what are they doing? I wouldn't have been tranquila.
Yeah.
So really my mom and my dad, thankfully, you know, they took on that load and I completely appreciate it because we do need those times. You know, and as much as I didn't want to do it and people were like, what do you mean? Don't be so stupid. Like, why are you even like, they're in good hands. I realized like I was over exaggerating in my head of all the things that could go wrong and they were in very good hands, you know?
And they had quality time with your parents.
And with my
your
sister.
Yes.
Listen, I would call them and they were having the best time with my sister.
Oh.
They love my sister, you know? So it's like, oh, Tata's here. We're going to do this. And it's like, they got a little time away from us and the routine. They got to stay at my mom's house. They got to do different things that maybe it was like a little vacation for them as well, you know? And I'm telling you, I'm thinking like it doesn't have to be a week, but
You're
maybe
like,
4
okay,
days.
I'm already scheduling it for next year.
Mom.
So, Mom, cover your ears.
Yeah, get ready. No. But I mean, I can't do that to her all the time.
Yeah.
La pobre, like she is not 20 anymore to be behind these two toddlers. But I do appreciate, you know, the people that helped.
Yeah. So thank you, Mama and
Yeah.
sister. And you got to do it again. Yeah. So in my case, we did bring Luna with us on the trip. And by the way, I loved going to Europe in October. I know that last summer, everybody was traveling and I was like stuck here. And I'm like, Darlene, focus. You're going to go soon. You're going to go soon. But so many people would tell us, this is the best time to come. We went to an amusement park, no lines.
Oh, awesome.
The weather was perfect. The places weren't, London is kind of always crowded, but it wasn't as bad as it would be in the summer. Of course, I recommend going in October, November, but because of schools, it's hard. It's hard. So Luna's still in VPK, so we were able to bring her out and just show proof that we were going to be on a trip and it doesn't affect her. But I don't know, how does it work if you were wanting to take, for example, Jacob, who's in kindergarten, to a trip?
So it's funny because at the wedding, no kids were allowed, but they were the little, like, you know, the flower girl and all that came and they traveled. So, and they're I think they're in Pennsylvania, if I'm right, or Philly. No, or Pennsylvania or Philly. And I was talking to the mom of, you know, the two little kids. I was like, how did you guys get them to, you know, let school? Because they're not that little. They're you know, maybe 9 and 6 or 7, you know? And she's like, well, you have to go to the school first and let them know that they're doing like a trip for cultural reasons, that they're going to learn from this trip, which is true.
Which is so true.
It's true. When you travel, you learn. They open their mind to other things, you know, things that they didn't see, people that they've never met, you know, different cultures, food. So that was the whole thing. They did, though, however, they said the school did give us a pack of stuff because they actually left the wedding and they went to do another travel, like to Cartagena. They went to Barranquilla. So they took the time to go travel in Colombia to other places. So they were not just there for 4 days. They probably took maybe a week and a half, almost 2 weeks. So the schools gave them a packet.
So they do allow it.
They do allow it, but there has to be a purpose. Like you have to show purpose behind the trip and all that.
Because let me tell you, Luna, she started reading in this trip. And before I left, I asked for a packet. I'm like, let me know what they're going to be doing every day. And she said, we were on the train. We were on our way from London to Southampton because that's where we were going to take the cruise. And I'm like, okay, time to do homework. And it was only like 1 a day. She did like everything in that sitting. And then we went to the Louvre Museum in Paris and she fell in love with the Mona Lisa and the story, because that's one thing we made sure before we went to these iconic places and experiences that we would talk to her about it. You're going to see this, you're going to see that. So she would appreciate it more. So we leave the Louvre and she wanted her pen of Mona Lisa, her magnet, her notebook. So throughout the rest of the trip, she started just from the A to Z, A, B, spelling everything. She started like reading the numbers, drawing things that she would see. And I'm like, she learned. I feel like she came back with so much more knowledge. She on the cruise, she was at the kids club, which, by the way, the first day, I'm like, I don't know if I'm going to leave her in the kids club. Like, I don't know how it is. Like, I don't know these people. Luna doesn't know them. Girl, loved it.
Did she?
Loved
so
it.
Wait,
And I loved it.
You leave her there?
So we would have breakfast, and then it was like, Mom, I want to go to the kids club. So we would drop her off. They were so organized. My props to MSC Cruises and the kids club department. They were unbelievable. It was like having what's his name? The one that goes to the amusement parks, the giggly, what's his name?
I don't know.
My God. Oh, the one that has a show on YouTube.
Oh, Blippi?
Blippi. It's like having
Blippi.
Blippi like 7 days on the cruise for you.
Okay, entertaining them.
So it was a lot of entertainment. So we would drop her off, and then I would come back and pick her up, and they would say, oh, now we're going to go take them to go have lunch. I'm like, okay.
So they would leave the kids club.
They would leave the kids club. They would all go eat. And obviously, I'm like, okay, now she's walking around the cruise with these people.
Yeah.
So I would go and sneak in. And they had like all like these either hats or these things that like to show,
differentiate
which are the kids that are in the group. And so they were all sitting like in the restaurant and like eating their chicken and their fries and their pizzas. And she's with all these kids. Most of them are English. It's a whole different type of English that she knows.
But still, it's awesome.
And I'm like, Mom, can I go to the toilet?
She was like Peppa Pig.
Peppa Pig, yeah. And she was with all of them. It's funny because she's blonde, blue eyes. Over here, you can recognize her. In Miami, over there, because they would have events and parties, and we would go like check up on them.
And they're all blondes.
And we're like, which one is Luna? They're all blonde with blue eyes. So the kids club was great. It was open till 11 at night.
Oh my God. So it gave you time to do something with Fabian.
At one point, Fabian wasn't feeling well one of the days. So he's in the room, and I'm like, okay, I'm going to go pick up Luna. So I go to pick her up. Mom, I'm not ready. And they're like, no, leave her. We're going to take them to dinner. And I'm like, okay. So I leave her. Fabian's in the room. And I'm like, what am I going to do?
Go.
No.
Enjoy yourself.
I know. But it was like the first time in a long time that I'm like, oh, I don't have to do anything. I don't have to cook. I don't have to clean. I don't have to do anything on the computer. I don't have Wi-Fi. What do I do? So I went upstairs, got my book. And then we had like the drink package, of course. Got my Prosecco. Sat there, ocean view, reading my book.
Oh my God.
Oh, it was great.
You know what? I think also those little experiences, obviously yours was longer. So you got more days there. You got to see more, things, so on. But just the 6 days or 5 days that we went without the kids, let me kind of like, I gave thanks for everything on the trip. I was like, thanks for me being able to be here, and like, have this time and be lucky enough to have my parents and so on, and actually marinate and like just think of my daily life and my kids, because obviously I miss them and I love them, you know what I mean? But also be able to say, man, let me now like just give thanks in general to take care of myself and be grateful and enjoy and take in the experiences, and say, oh, this is nice. And I want to do that more. Like I want to be able to plan more trips, obviously with the kids, because we want them to be part of it as well, but also have that time and say, it's okay to take some days for you and your spouse away from your kids. You know what I mean? Where it's also a break for them, just the fact that you had Luna in the kids club, you were like, oh my God, I don't know. It's also a little break.
It helped.
It's help where she got to meet other little kids from another world. For her, it's another world. It is, like a different language or different, not different language, because obviously they speak English, but they speak it with an accent.
Yeah, the accent.
Where she gets to say, she's gonna. People say, oh, these little kids are not gonna remember. I don't think that's true. I think things that stick out, like the Mona Lisa, might be something that when she's 12, she's like, Mom, I still remember that woman.
She's gonna remember. And the Notre Dame, we went to the cathedral. Not inside because they're still rebuilding, which is a sad view. We were like, oh. So she was asking like what happened, and we talked about there was a fire in 2019. So now she's always saying Notre Dame, the fire that happened and why it happened, and so that's stuck in her head. She loved London. We went on the London Eye. We went to Westminster Abbey, which is, I'm like a royal freak. I love the whole
all that
history.
Yeah.
And she enjoyed it. She enjoyed it a little bit. We were kind of like telling him, okay, this tomb here, it's of this kid who was a king when he was 6 months old, you know, and I think she enjoyed it. She was good. But no, she was enjoying everything. And we kept asking. Another thing I did in that same Mona Lisa notebook, I said, okay, mamita, you don't know how to write yet. So tell me what you're feeling. Tell me about what you're feeling about the cruise experience, about Paris, about London. And she would start telling me, and I'm like, okay, let's talk about your feelings. And she would tell me everything, and we would write it down in the notebook. So that way, that's always with her. Even when she's older, she's going to be able to come back and read it and be like, oh, this is what I was feeling during the trip.
Oh my God, that's going to be so awesome. And when she gets older, I mean, as long as you don't lose the notebook, right?
Yeah.
Don't lose the notebook. Don't misplace it, you know, but you keep that notebook. And when she's 12, you say, remember when we took a trip, and she might not remember all the details, but you can bring that notebook up and say, look what you drew. Look at the things that you were feeling at that moment. That's awesome. I think it's awesome. I think it should be a requirement to the schools when they want you all day long just doing homework and studying, and it's not, there should be a requirement of like, I don't know, we're gonna do a trip, or take a little trip. It doesn't have to be the most expensive trip, this and that, but just somewhere different where they get to meet different types of people, eat different kinds of food. I think that expands their mind to see that there's so much more out there than what we see on a daily basis around us. There's just so much more to learn.
And that's the best gift that we can give our kids.
Absolutely.
And for example, people were saying, oh, you're going to go to Paris, so you got to go to Disneyland. And I'm like, nope.
Yeah, no, you have,
I'm like,
we have it here.
I live 3 hours away from Disney World. I'm like, but it's cheaper and it's a whole different experience. I'm like, no. So my friend that lives in Paris, she recommended this place. I'm going to kill the pronunciation, but it's Jardin d'Acclamation, something like that. It's like, basically, it's Jardin d'Acclamation, Jardin d'Acclamation.
Jardin.
If you want the information, I'll type it and send it to you.
You just massacred that. I know that.
I did. Jardin d'Acclamation. And it's not like right there in the middle of the city, because over there you get in metro everywhere, which I love the transportation system in Europe. But for this one, like, we Ubered. It was probably like 25 minutes from the hotel. And it was this amusement park, and it was very local. It was great. It was great. The rides were amazing. There were no lines, and just like really different. Like the carousel, it wasn't just horses. It has like monkeys and giraffes, and it's right across from the foundation, the Louis Vuitton Foundation, which is absolutely gorgeous. I'm like, we took her to that amusement park, and she keeps talking about it. But I'm like, I am not gonna go to Disneyland. In Paris, there's. It's like the person that goes to Europe and they want to go get coffee at Starbucks.
Yeah, it's like try different things.
Yeah.
I mean, I think I have friends that they like the same food. Like, don't take them out of their context of I've been introducing, let's say, to Indian food. Like, don't go get Indian food. No, I know London. I've been to London and I've had Indian food in London. It's so good.
So good.
I love it. But I like spices and all that. There's people that be like, I don't like spice, so I'm not even going to try it. It's like, open up your mind. Try things. Like, it's when you're little, I think you're more closed off to trying things. If things gross you out. And if I think that if you introduce your kids at a young age to try different things, to see different things, to talk to different people, that is the best gift that you could give. And again, it comes with travel. If you don't have the funds to travel far, that's fine. It could be you drive in your car, 3 hours away or something, and you see you might still be in the same state of Florida, but maybe you see different sceneries, different. It's a thing of expanding the mind. That it's not just what we see on an everyday basis.
Yeah, and it's education. We took her to the change of guards in Buckingham Palace, and she loved it. Oh, she was running. We were there for about 2.5 hours again, and I keep watching like the balcony where everything happens. I'm like a royal family freak.
I love all that stuff. It's so classy, and it's just so like it takes you back into the day of when all that, like how people used to dress.
So much history.
Yeah,
I love that walking, and then you're walking these streets, and it's like this beautiful cathedral here, and this town square and markets everywhere in London, especially Did you go to one?
I did when I was in. I haven't been to London in a long time, but I did go, and that was several years ago. And I went to the change of guards. I did all that stuff,
my God.
and it's beautiful. It's such a nice experience. So different from what we're accustomed to,
Yeah.
you know, and the history behind it, and just the architecture. You know, when you see the buildings, you know, that's
Yes.
another thing. Like your kids go, and we're used to, let's say
The
here,
square, everything here is square.
everything is square
flat.
and flat, which for somebody that's maybe coming from over there, it's like, wow, this is so modern and
Modern.
cool, which is fine. You know, again, I truly feel that we, and this isn't everything, that we take for granted the things we have around us because we see it all day long.
That's true.
And when we go somewhere new, we're like, oh my God, this is so cool. Look how these people live, this and that. But those people are thinking, wow, where you live is so cool. Look at the architecture.
Yeah.
Look at, I want to try the hamburger. And we're like, dude, that's American, like hamburger, cheese, cheeseburger, French fries, you know? And
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Like, but then you go somewhere else and you get to try their different food, and everything is like, wow, it's so new. I think once you start living in a setting for many, many years, you take those things for granted, where somebody else is saying, wow, you're so lucky for X, Y, and Z. I always say X, Y, Z. Yeah.
We got it on the cruise. They were
know?
asking. It was cold. It was cold. This was we went to La Rochelle, France, to Bilbao, Spain. Then there was kind of like hurricane weather, which, by the way, recently, I believe just these last couple of days, something did happen there. There was like hurricane winds and stuff. So we were going to go to La Coruña. We ended up going to Le Havre, which is spelled Lehavre. I'm proud of learning how to pronounce that one. We went there, and anyway, so people were asking us, because it's cold, they're like, oh, where are you from? Miami. What are you doing here? The Miami weather. And I'm like, no, I love this weather. My hair's not crazy. It's not humid. But it was also nice talking to them about Florida, in my case, about Puerto Rico. I'm like, go on a cruise through the Caribbean. And it was great. And then also listening to their own problems over there in England. We all have problems.
Everybody. But I think what's beautiful is when like different people from around the world come together and you start to listen to their history and their take on life and the way that they live. And if you're somewhere, like, let's say, for instance, I was telling this to Benjamin, like, I think I even told you, I don't want to get too graphic about bodily functions or anything like that, but I'm gonna say
it's okay.
it. You know, as like here, I don't know, there's something here, like every time I eat here, and obviously I've been here my whole entire life, my stomach gets bloated. I don't know what it is. I get bloated and it's the food. I don't know. It's something. And the 6 days that I was in Medellin, I don't know if it's that they bring the eggs from the farm that's there and the food, whatever they do, it's cooked from all the resources that they have around. And the fruit is like so fresh. And this and that my system was like regulated for like 6 days. You know, I felt not bloated at all. I felt better. And then I get here and for some reason I go back to like my body feeling, I don't know, bloated, this and that. So it's just like, I don't know. There's just so many different things, like, you know, that you look at and you're like, wow, like, look at how these people live. Like, if you could take the good from everywhere and bring it to you, that would be amazing.
I would bring a whole different transportation system to Florida, because I loved being able to get on the bus, get on the train, the metro, the whatever is out there. It was so easy to get from one place to the other. And here you always have to get in a car.
Yeah.
You always need the car. And even Luna loved it. She was like, let's go on the bus. Let's go on the train. We went on the bus. We went to, actually, no, we took an Uber. We came back on a bus to Abbey Road.
Aww.
We're Beatles fans. We had to do the Abbey Road. And so that was fun. But I love that people walk all over the place. It doesn't matter the time. We were having dinner our last night in London at an Indian restaurant, of course. And next to us, it was this table with like beautiful girls, and everybody's so pretty and handsome over there. And when they're about to go, they had like the helmets. And I'm like, oh, cool, they're riders. So they're like, everybody goes outside, talks for 5 more minutes. And then you see it's 10:30, 11 o'clock at night, and they're getting on their bikes, the girls with their boots, their dresses, their pea coats. And I'm like, that's so great.
You know, it's funny that you say that about like, you just said a comment there, and I don't know why I'm bringing this up, but I know you just said something, and that's why I'm gonna say what I'm gonna say. You said the thing about the food, like, and not the walking, sorry,
yeah.
about the walking. It's like when I saw Darlene today, because I haven't seen her in a while, I was like, Darlene, you look skinnier to me, and she's like, really? I was like, yeah. I was like, even your butt looks more perky. And then her husband's like, well, we did a lot of walking, and that's the thing. That's
perky. I like that.
That's the difference.
Perky butt.
Yeah, for real. And I was like, Darlene, you look skinnier. I don't know. Usually when people come back from vacation, it's like they gain 10 pounds because they've been eating. And I'm sure you ate, but you walked a lot.
We ate on the cruise. We ate a lot. The plates were like pizza, Indian food, fries. The French fries were great, and everybody was.
But there's a difference. You walked a lot, and here we're sedentary unless you purposely go and you work out and so on. And we have to drive everywhere. Yeah. You don't walk places here unless you live, like, let's say in downtown Miami in like the Brickell setting. But even then, it's just like walking.
You're not walking that.
You're not really walking.
You're not walking that much.
Yeah.
But no, over there it was a lot of walking, and I love that. And one thing, I felt so secure, you know, that with everything that's going on, my dad was hysterical.
Yeah.
He's like, every time I tell somebody that my daughter's in Europe, they're like, oh, is she okay?
Be careful.
Your mom, you just told me this morning, your mom was worried.
She was. The first thing she said, have you talked to Darlene? Did you call her? Did you send her a message to see how they're doing? Because look at what the news is saying. Unfortunately, you know, obviously we're all seeing it on the news, the stuff that's going on. Like I don't want to go into politics and all, but like, the thing of what's going on in Israel and like just everything. And it's so sad. And every time the news would come out, she's like, have you talked to Darlene? Have you seen if she's okay? And I'm like, Mom, I'm watching her on Instagram. She's posting stories and she seems to be having the best time of her life. Like, you know, and she's like, oh, okay, menos mal. Well, good, you know, but thankfully she is. And I'm like, sometimes we watch the news and it's not that it's not going on, but we get so scared.
It's too much.
It's too much.
The media's like, you know, they have to fill out space. Channels like, sorry, CNN, it's 24-hour news, so they have to keep
and it's all bad.
Adding to it. And so, my dad would call me, is everything okay? And I'm like, yeah. And we felt, I'm telling you, so secure. Yeah. They were, you know, cops and security. Like when we did the picnic by the Eiffel Tower, which was one of the highlights of the trip.
I saw.
And I went to the restroom with Luna, and I see like these guards like picking up stuff like from they were checking all the bushes.
Okay.
And I don't know, I felt secure. When we got back to London from the cruise, the Uber driver, loved him. His name is Benjamin, by the way. And we asked like, what's going on? And he said, well, there were some protests the night before, that Saturday. And we asked like, are we okay here? And he's like, oh, we're very safe in London right now. And I never once felt scared.
Yeah.
But then I come here and I go to Publix or here or there, and I'm like, you know, because I don't know. Mental health.
The news too. You also too were you. What I vouched. Well, what I take my hat off to you is that you unplugged for those 3 weeks.
Oh yeah.
You got off I mean, I saw you post every so often, but it wasn't that you were posting every single day on social media. Like I knew about you the random times I saw a little thing, and it was actually during the time that my mom was like, "Is Darlene okay?" And I'm like, "I just saw some stories. She's fine, Mom." You know.
Yeah.
But you unplugged, and I think that's the best thing, to get away. You're with your family. You're taking in the scenery, you're taking in the food, you're appreciating the setting that you're in, and you're just like, you know, who knows when you'll do another trip like that, you know? So
I loved unplugging. Even the night that we got here, my phone was on my purse till the next morning. I'm like, oh shoot, did I leave it on the plane? I don't know.
You forgot about it.
Yeah, I was living. Yeah. I was taking it all in. I want to do like a small reel of each city because I want to share the beauty and the experiences. But still, like I loved unplugging.
You know, so here's our takeaway. This is our takeaway of this particular podcast, because we had two different experiences, right? You went with your family. I went without my family. And it wasn't a long trip as yours, but it was a trip nonetheless. And I think the two takeaways from this is, one, if you are in a marriage or with your significant other and you've got kids, don't be scared to leave your kids. Obviously, if you have somewhere to leave them that you feel safe with, to take that trip and take that time to spend that quality time with your significant other.
Or leave them in the kids club.
Or leave them in the
If you
kids
take a
club,
cruise, it's
you know?
totally fine.
And also, don't think that because you have little kids that you can't take them on these long trips far away and that they're not going to enjoy it. You know, it's a matter of being prepared. You went prepared. You took some homework for Luna where she can do her stuff on the train and keep her entertained and in the travel parts of it. And then at the same time, she got to take in the beauty of seeing something different, meeting different little kids with different accents. You know, you gave her an experience that she's not going to forget.
She's not going to forget.
And it's not that she might remember every single detail, but there's things that she's going to take away and she's going to remember, you know? So I think that's the takeaway of our podcast, you know?
So you guys listening there, you can do it with or without the kids, and you can do it. A lot of people say like, oh, you know, obviously these are like pricey trips and it's bucket list. We were like bucket list, scratch, done. But you know, if you plan things with time, if you have a dream trip that you want to take with or without the kids, just put like an alert on your phone, on the computer, and when those fares go down, don't be afraid to book it.
Yeah,
because it's beautiful experience, and
it's for oneself as well.
Yes,
you know, it's for you. It's not just it's everybody. Everybody comes out. I think traveling, and I wasn't such a travel person back in the day. Not that I didn't like to. I don't know. I just didn't do it as much. And now as I'm getting older and I have my kids, I want to give them those experiences. Yeah. I want to travel with them. I want to also now travel sometimes by myself with, you know, Benjamin to enjoy that time. But traveling is probably the best gift that you could give to somebody before you give them something materialistic. I think traveling is one of those things that, you know, I think everybody can enjoy, you know?
You should wait till like Noah's probably, I would say 4 and up. 4 and up for kids. 4 and up.
We'll see. We'll see. I'm thinking next year I want to do the trip that you did. I want to go to Spain. I want to go with my parents. You know, my parents are getting older. And I've been wanting to go to Italy, to the Amalfi Coast and all that. I've been dying to go over there. I also want to go to Greece. I want to do so many things.
So we are going to plan a trip together next year, October, a cruise, because I want to take my parents. I want to do Spain. I want to do Amalfi Coast, Granada and Spain, because that's where my dad's name comes from. So that's it. You heard it here. We are going to take a trip
putting
together.
it out. We're putting it out to the world.
Put it out.
And if you're listening and if you've done a really cool trip, we would love to hear it. A cool trip, whether it's just you and your significant other or a family trip, I would love to hear suggestions because I am going to do a bucket list of travel destinations. So
I love it.
Anyways.
All right. So it was great catching up with you, and we will see you guys next week.
Bye.
Bye.